Hi there, it's Rebecca on the Coaching Podcast, and welcome to today. As always, we have some inspiration and motivation here for you today. And if you love this, then please do head over to thesuccesstribe.co and register for our emails with super cool information and value straight to your inbox. Never miss a thing. Head over to the Facebook page, Rebecca Lockwood, The Success Tribe, and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 9 and 11 a.m. London time. Enjoy! So welcome, Jules, to the interview today. I'm so excited.
Nice to see you.
I'm so excited to have you on today. So Jules is a sales coach, trainer and mentor with a really impressive sales career spanning the last 30 years. So I'll let you take over and explain who you are and what you do.
Okay, so hello Rebecca, and thank you for asking me to chat with you today. So I'm Jules White. I am a sales coach, mentor and trainer. The reason I have three tags is because I can be whatever I need to be for you, because some people do need me to help them and actually do training with them, but other people just know how to do it, but it needs to be brought out of them. So I tend to work with corporates as well as entrepreneurial people, so people who've started their own businesses, people who have got amazing skills. They might be designers, they might be HR people, project managers, so many wonderful skills out there. They started their own businesses, consultancies, but actually now they've got to go out and sell. Okay, that's the scary bit. Everybody hates sales. It's a dirty word. And so I come along and I make you fall in love with sales and understand that it's all about a human conversation. And actually our sales skills are life skills. And we've probably been doing these things all through our lives that we would then use in a sales situation. So that's kind of how I work.
Yeah, that sounds so amazing, and I completely get where you're coming from as well, because I have a sales background. As you may know, for the last 8 years I worked in corporates and trained and coached and mentored sales individuals, and it is, isn't it, like people are scared of it, but it just, like you say, like we're already using these tools in everything that we already do. It's just that we don't realize it, and them skills are so transferable. So where did it all begin for you?
In terms of my sales career or just being a self-employed person, where do you want me to start?
Okay. Let's start at your sales career.
Okay, so I'll run through this as quick as I can because it's quite long-winded, but basically started in sales when I was about 20 years old. So 18, 20 years old. Long time, very long time. First thing I sold was stainless steel, would you believe? So it was quite a man's world. It was very technical. It was very scary. So I sold that. Then after that, I sold yellow pages. So some of you may remember the big fat yellow pages. Of course, they don't really exist anymore, but I used to go out and sell all the adverts that were in there. And that was real foundation of my sales career, because they trained you really well. And it was very hard sell. The targets were tough and they pushed you really hard. So learned a lot of resilience in that role. And then after that, I kind of went on to do things like corporate hospitality sales. So I was selling tickets to big sporting hospitality events. I was then involved in events themselves. So ground up, making an event. I then worked in hospitality and at a venue. So I then got the venue side of the sales. I've also sold in recruitment, and I've also sold in digital marketing. So I've had a really wide breadth of experience in sales. So not just kind of one sector, which is, I think, the great thing about my career is that I've done lots of sectors. I've also done business to consumer as well as business to business, which means that you've seen both sides of how sales works, because one's very personal and emotional buy, and one's more of a corporate, as you know, Rebecca, a corporate buy is a little bit more, I don't know, mechanical, I guess, in parts. It's not so emotional. So, but the one thing I have noticed in my whole career is that sales has still got one thing about it, and that is the human touch, and people buy people.
Yeah.
And I think whatever you sell, and in whatever market you sell it, if you understand the people skills side of things, then actually I think you're going to be winning.
Yeah, definitely. Have you read that book? Is it what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School?
Oh, I haven't read that, but I have heard about it. So I've
Yeah.
got a reading list, Rebecca, that I'm making so that I read more books. It's just time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a really good book. For those of who are listening who may not have read it, it's about the personable kind of side, isn't it? And he says a lot about taking people out on like what do they call them when they go out on corporate dinners to invite the
Yeah, the
clients.
hospitality side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like the way you speak to someone in a personal setting
mm,
can really unpick the way that they would work in a sales transaction.
yeah,
So it's really, really interesting in terms of that and how you can understand people's habits
mm,
and the way that they would be and transfer them habits from like the personal life into the work life and into the love life. And because
yeah,
essentially that really is true, and the way he
yeah,
describes it is really interesting. And I've noticed it at the time I read it when I first met my husband now 4 years ago. And I remember there was things that he did and I was thinking, oh yeah. And then I thought, no, that's just silly. But honestly, like he I won't go too much into it, but like just things like he does things a lot slower than I do. I'm very fast paced, and there were habits that he had then, and I was thinking, oh, maybe, but then I was like, no. But yeah, it completely transpired that is the truth,
It is. It
which
is,
is
and
crazy.
the thing about it is, we're the same people out of work as we are in work in
Yeah.
many ways. I know we adjust. I understand that we take a role, but we're
Mm.
still human and we're still people. So actually, if we really connect with somebody on that level, then we can sell to them quite easily. We have to find out why they want to buy. That's the real
Yeah.
key thing. If you do one thing in a sale, you find out why they want to buy. What's their pain? What's their challenge? If you know that bit, then you can actually do loads and loads of stuff that you don't realize you can do. So that's kind of
Yeah.
my theory of sales. So,
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you'll probably agree with this as well, that when you were saying about they had sell with the yellow pages, so one
mm,
of my first sales jobs was door knocking, door to door, selling phone and broadband, and the resilience that you had to have for that. And
yeah,
I mean, they used to say, and I used to train my team, that you've got to get 100 no's before you'll get one yes. And to keep
hmm,
that mentality and keep the motivation going, and to be able to keep yourself boosted enough high level energy to
yeah,
continue going forward with all them negative feedback and all the setbacks and the drawbacks.
mm,
I think that's definitely been the fundamentals of me being able to run my own business.
yes, yes, I would say so. And also to run your life, because when you think about it, you need resilience in life. Now, when you think about your story, when you hear all your women that you communicate with and their stories, what's the one thing that's come out of their stories for them to be sitting here today telling you? And that is resilience.
Mm.
And it links straight into sales. And that's where I love how I believe the life skills link so cleverly into sales skills. I see them really aligned, which is what I like, which is what I like to talk about, really. So.
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting. I could sit here and chat
Yeah, I
for
know.
hours. So going back then, so how did you, what was the transition then that happened for you to go from corporate to self-employed? How did that
Okay, so
work?
I had a baby, funnily enough,
Um,
which I think a lot of women will go, oh, yeah, because that's
mm,
kind of when they decided to do whatever they're doing. It's a big life changing thing. And I was older for having a baby. I was 35, so I came into motherhood a bit later on because of my career. But I had this wonderfully beautiful little boy, Sam. He's 12 now, nearly 13. And I just looked at him and I thought, I'm so in love with this baby. My life's completely changed. Whatever I do, it's got to be to do with this baby. And that was my first gut instinct. But I knew I'd have to do something to work because I was so career driven and
mm,
driven just personally. So I thought, well, I've got to do something that's to do with babies. And before I had Sam, I was working in my ex-husband's business with him. We were married at the time. So I naturally thought I'd just go back to work for him, but I didn't want to once I'd had Sam. I just wanted to be with him and do something with babies. So I started a business. And actually just before that, I looked for a business to work for, which is the most important bit, that was party plan, because I'd done that before and I'd earned extra money. So that was cool. I knew the model. I looked for a business that was party plan selling baby products, because I thought, I love that. I'll find a company and I'll go and work for them. Couldn't find one. So I just turned around to my husband at the time and I just said, I'm going to start a business doing this because this is ridiculous. There's going to be loads of women like me who want to work for this company with their babies selling baby products. So I did. So I started a business in the March after Sam was born. He was 3 months old, and it was called Truly Madly Baby. So we grew, well, I grew this business. I selected a really lovely collection of products which weren't on the high street, so they were different. I recruited mums, and this is interesting too, Rebecca, because this was back in 2005. So there wasn't Facebook groups like there are today. So it was, Facebook was there, but it wasn't like it was. So it was Net Mums, Mumsnet, it was forums. I'd go on and tell them all what I was doing, and I'd recruit mums to come and work for my business. And they get commission for going out and doing the parties and selling the products. So that's what I started.
Wow. So I know then that this journey was just kind of the start of something humongous. because I know your story. So, and it's amazing to think as well that after 3 months, you've just had a baby for 3 months. Did you actually take the 3 months off, or were you researching?
No, I actually went back to work for Richard. Ex-husband is Richard, guys, just so you can reference that. So I went to work back for Richard 2 weeks after I'd had Sam to do a meeting with a corporate. So I was just straight back into work, but then I knew I didn't want to do that. So then, once we decided, because Richard and I talked about it a lot in the March when Sam was 3 months, then it was research. Then it was just like, I was on it. I'm a doer. So I just got on and I did it. I found the products, made a catalogue, made a website. I mean, I just did it. And then by the May, and this is the bit of the story that you know, I had already got about 5 consultants across the country selling Truly Madly Baby products, which was so exciting. One of the ladies was up in Scotland, there was a lady down in Cornwall, and I was in Milton Keynes, where I am now. So it's like I've got these women across the country, even if it's 5 of them, and now they're going to tell everyone about my business, and now my business is going to grow. So it was so exciting. So then this advert pops up on my computer screen about 7 in the morning, because I would work stupid hours, 20-hour days with a little baby. And it said, we're looking for applicants for Dragon's Den. So I thought, I'll fill that in. And off I went, filled in the application, pressed send, and sat there laughing. Richard came down and I said to him, I've just applied to be on Dragon's Den. He laughed, I laughed, we all laughed. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours later, the BBC were on the phone.
Oh, wow.
But it's interesting because obviously that was only the 2nd series of Dragon's Den. Okay, so you imagine this is the 15th season about to start in September. So obviously it's still on the telly. It's been a huge success. This was only the 2nd series. So we'd watched the first one. We thought it was really great, really exciting. And these poor people that went in the den who got just shot back out again, you know, because their businesses were rubbish. And there was me, and I was now on the phone to the BBC. Well, cut a long story short, the following day after that call, I was at BBC Television Centre filming a little in a meeting room to a tripod camera, a little pitch to camera, obviously to make sure that I was beautiful enough to go on the television. And then and then 2 weeks later I was filming. I was in London. We were taken off to this disused warehouse in the East End of London, and we were filming Dragon's Den in front of the 5 dragons.
Wow, so it was fast, wasn't it? So, okay. So tell me about the actual experience of the filming then, because I know as you've heard Laura's interview, it's changed quite a lot since then.
It has, and I listened to that interview. It was really good and really interesting. And when she was explaining, I was thinking, gosh, that's so different, because we didn't do half of that stuff. Well, for a start, we didn't have a lift. And I noticed she mentioned the lift doesn't move, which I thought was quite funny. That made me smile. But we didn't have a lift. We just had stairs. Okay, so I had to climb up all these stairs, which was quite daunting. The second thing is, we never did a practice. She talked about some sort of practice and rehearsal that they were doing when she was being filmed. We didn't do any practice. We literally went in, we were put in a green room, which was like a waiting room. There were people who'd been in that green room for 3 days who hadn't yet filmed. So you didn't know when you were going to be filmed. And we arrived at 7 a.m, and then at 10 o'clock I was in makeup. So then I knew that I'd got an idea I was going to go that day and film, which was good. So I was quite lucky. So makeup, they mic you up, and then they literally at the bottom of the stairs give you a cue, and you climb the stairs and off you go.
Oh, yeah, because I remember it used to be stairs. I remember the stairs now. Yeah. So for those of you who are listening, we did an interview with Laura previously who spoke about the Dragon's Den experience, her experience on there. So that's what we're referring to here.
Yes, yeah, we are, yeah. So then off I went up the stairs. Then you stand on a big cross. That's kind of standard if you've ever been on the telly. There's usually crosses you need to stand on for camera angles. But in front of you are the dragons, as you see on the telly. But all of down the left-hand side of you is probably 30 plus people. Cameras, crew, producers, editors, runners. And they're all there, and they're all standing watching you as well. So you're not just in front of the 5 dragons. Now, some people are in front of the dragons for 10 minutes. Some people are there for a couple of hours, but I was in front of them for 2.5 hours. So it was a really, really long time. And it was very much a business meeting. I can't tell you, it was just like being in a business meeting, except now and again they said cut. And you had to kind of go off and get a drink of water and then come back. But then on the television program, you get 14 minutes. So you actually see 14 minutes of my 2.5 hours, which are cut beautifully to make me look silly.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Like, me and my husband used to sit there and like say stuff about, and then you think, well, actually, like, it's TV, isn't it? Like, they are just cutting it down so much.
Yeah. But I have to say, I think the second, because I filmed early on and it was only the second series, I think it has changed, and I think it has become more commercial, and I think it has become more TV than even when I did it, because I think back when I did it, it was still a little bit more quite business linked, and I think it was more genuine back then, if I'm honest. That's how I feel when I watch it now. But yeah. But the dragons have changed, obviously.
So what were like the biggest takeaways that you took from that then?
Well, for me, I think it was just I just did it so quickly. I am a doer. The more I have to think about something, the worse I am about it. So for me, I think it was perfect, because I literally had to just go in and do it. And I couldn't even think about it. But it was about the fact that I needed to understand what my business was. I did really need to be able to tell someone what my business model was, how it was going to grow, what my 3-year plan was, what my market was. Did I know who I was going to sell to? So yeah, I'd done my research. I knew that 700,000 babies were born in the year that Sam was born. So I knew my audience was already that, just in the UK. So I knew bits and bobs that made it much more authentic, that I really wanted to do this, and I had a vision of growth, you know. So I'd say to anyone, if they're starting a business, understand why you're doing it. So if it's just a lifestyle business, then actually there's not perhaps so much pressure. But if you're really starting it to grow it, and you want growth, and you want a goal, then you need to have some sort of plan as to how you're going to get there. It's quite important. But I did get investment. I did get investment.
Woo!
So, I think the exciting part really was, for me, I had absolutely no idea I would get anywhere. I thought, I've got this far, this is wonderful, but I'll just go home and I won't get anywhere. And Theo and Peter Jones were both pitching against each other for sharing my business, which was really something.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And Theo was Theo Fetis, if anyone remembers him when he was a dragon. So.
Yeah, Theo seemed really nice, didn't he? I liked
Yeah,
Theo.
yeah. He was
Peter
lovely.
Peter seems like he's like, I think the thing is, I always feel like it's very much their opinion, and not
Yes.
everybody has the same opinion, which is fine.
No, no.
But yeah. So what happened then? So did you go with Theo or Peter? How
So
did you
Peter,
choose?
yeah, it was hard because Theo was the new dragon. He was the new kid on the block. I didn't
Uh,
know much about him. I'd watched the first series and Peter had been in it. So he was kind of like a kingpin character, really, in the
yeah,
Dragon's Den.
yeah,
And
yeah,
funny enough, he's still in there. So
yeah.
that's to say something about him. So I sort of felt like, well, actually, I think I need to go with Peter because he's been here longer and he seems to be quite popular. But that was the basis. There wasn't really any other reason. They'd gone from his original offer was he wanted 50% of my business, and then Theo pitching meant he had to drop. And I think in the end it was something like 40, 47 or 45. I can't remember. I'd need to watch it back. But the point was, I thought, well, I'm here now. This man
Mm,
wants to invest. What's to lose? So I just said yes, and I did the deal. But afterwards, you do due diligence. They do due diligence on you. That was all fine. All the contracts came through. We actually filmed it in the May, and you don't hear from them until about September.
oh
So you
gosh,
go
just
out in the back of the, yeah, you go out the building, you do your interview. Oh, that was the other thing that is it Laura, wasn't it?
yeah,
She said that her interview with Evan Davis, he wasn't even there in the interview. Do you remember that
yeah,
bit?
yeah.
Now, he was there for me and he did interview me, but that may be just a sign of the times as it's progressed,
Mm,
the program, whatever. But he interviewed us, and then we went out the back door and got in a black cab and were just taken home. And that was that. And then May till September, I was just in limbo. I couldn't tell anyone I'd won
yeah. What? Oh God,
because
I got goosebumps then.
I
What do you
know
do?
it hadn't been shown on the telly. I didn't have any correspondence from Peter Jones. I was just running this business. So I just thought, just get on and run it like you were, which I did, carried on growing it. I got up to about 30 odd consultants just
Wow.
organically. So that was great. That was all growing the way I thought it might. And then it was aired in the October, November, end of October. So all that big gap from when I filmed, if you imagine, that was quite
Yeah.
tough.
And it feels like time goes, like especially when you're a massive action taker, because I can completely resonate with that. Like I
Yeah,
like to do things really fast, and when I make a decision, I make it and I do it. And
yeah,
like for that amount of time to pass,
I
and
know.
like
Yeah.
like things
What
could
do I
have
do?
completely dramatically changed, couldn't they? And
Yeah,
like you say, you got 30 extra consultants, so not only that, but then your business must have been worth so much more at that stage than it was when you went in. But that's a
yeah.
completely other thing altogether, isn't it?
It is, and we were growing, and that's great, and that was the lovely bit because that said to me, actually, this business is good because
Yeah.
it's growing anyway, and nobody yet knows about the Dragon's Den, which is great. And then come October, it was on the television. That evening, we got 2,500 emails,
Wow.
bang, 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 and they just kept coming, and it was just really overwhelming because it was people who wanted to be consultants, people who wanted to invest in the business, people who wanted to sell me their products. It was everything. And then by Christmas, which if you imagine it was end of October, early November, by Christmas we had 65 consultants. So we were just pumping away and recruiting, and every consultant I had to train, I had to send out a kit. Imagine I'm still running this business I had one lady I employed and my dad, and that was us. That was Trudy Madly Baby.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it
So,
was awesome.
so like, I completely understand as well with the business model, because my previous business, Rococo Woman, was a very, very similar concept.
Mm,
We did ladies' clothing, and that was the only difference. The product was different.
mm,
The target market was very much the same. I had my daughter, and that was kind of part of the drive for it.
yeah.
And the model was the same. And so, yeah, I had like my sister working with me, and
Mm,
you had to package the kits and send the kits out.
that's
And I
it.
think the biggest thing that I struggled with was because I was starting to look for investment, and it was at that stage that I closed it. Um, but the kind of the keeping the turnover of it and the cash flow was probably the biggest challenge that I faced. What would you say would have been the biggest challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Well, very similar really, darling, because when you think about it, you know, my growth was so fast, I was then having to deal with that growth.
Yeah.
It's like you say. And I mean, the story really, what happened was I didn't go with Peter Jones because the contract was really naff. It just wasn't right for me, so I didn't sign. I went with another investor who was an FD, financial director, perfect for anyone like me in sales, because I don't want to do that bit.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she didn't really take part in the business. She just didn't get involved. She didn't do the right things for me. So really, I was still running it on my own. While she put the investment in, I was still running everything, doing everything. So the challenge became really obvious actually in year 3. So year 3 comes along. We're still going, which is super cool.
Yeah.
We've got 400 consultants across the country. We've got a lady in Hebrides, a lady in Jersey, Northern Ireland. We're really going great guns. We then have turned over £1 million. I've hit my first million.
Woo!
We've made profit out of that million. So everything's there.
Amazing.
We've got inquiries from America, Australia, and Europe to take Truly Madly Baby into those countries. And I'm like, now we're getting global. But to monthly run that operation, as you know, to hold the right levels of stock, to fulfill and deliver on time, to train and mentor all of those consultants. And there's the turnover of consultants too, because they come and go. So that's
massive, isn't it? Yeah.
You've got to keep a minimum number of consultants who are selling to actually keep the business going. So you usually need about 800 consultants on the books to have maybe 400 selling if you're lucky. It is that stuff.
Yeah.
So the third year came, we were great guns. I was knackered, 20 hours a day for 3 years. I was just in pieces. And then all of a sudden, we just needed better systems, more stock, more staff, more facilities. We couldn't handle this any longer because the demand was such. So for that, we needed money. And the cash flow monthly was not going to pay for the stuff we needed to run the business. So second level of investment, which is pretty common in small businesses when they're growing. Investor says, I'll put in what you like, but I want 75% of your business.
Wow.
So I would have been working for her basically.
Yeah.
So I just said, no. I said, I can't do that. I can't give you all of that. Why would I? I'll be working for you. I've worked 3 years for this. I tried to get somebody to buy her out so that we could then continue in the right vein. But we ran out of time and she closed me down because we needed the cash flow and we ran out of money on a monthly basis for the reasons I've just said. She closed it down, took it to administration, and then she bought it back the next day and carried on running it.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I lost everything. And I really did. I lost money. I had a miscarriage. I then lost my marriage, and I had this just massive knock-on effect really of loss. I lost my mum. She died of breast cancer. Actually, no, she had breast cancer when my business failed. And then she died 3 years later of another cancer. And it was just this whole treadmill of crap, really.
Yeah, gosh.
But that's why I'm like this now, because I went through that, because my resilience, and that's back to this sales thing, because you need it in life and as well in sales, as we both know. You've got to get back up. What was I supposed to do? Sit in a corner and cry? I couldn't do anything about what she did to me.
I think I would have.
I know. But my mum said, to me, she said, don't worry, karma will prevail. And she said, you may never hear about it, but trust me, it will come back round.
Yeah.
Very sadly, 2 years ago, Truly Madly Baby went out of business. And I do say sadly because I don't wish bad on anyone, but
yeah, of course.
And she lost a lot of money. So
wow, what a story.
Yeah, it was. And it's funny because recalling it, as I have done a bit more lately, chatting to ladies like you, it's quite painful sometimes to think about it. but where I am today is amazing, and I wouldn't change that. And that's because of what I went through. So that's the message.
Wow.
That's the message to everybody, you know.
So tell us then now. So now, what are the kind of people that you work with now?
So I've got a variety, really. So obviously I'm doing some corporate stuff because that really makes sense, because I'm from a corporate place. I know the corporate market. So I'm doing things like sales coaching and workshops on the sales side. I'm doing a bit of management and leadership stuff as well, which is really interesting. I really want to start working more with entrepreneurs because, like I said to you earlier, they haven't got that sales stuff. They don't really want it. They don't like it. But I want them to learn to love it because it's part of what they need to do. And it's great. Sales is great when you really understand it. It's not that scary. So I want to do some stuff around that side as well, on the entrepreneurial side. And then I've got a few one-to-one people that I'm coaching at the moment, and they're a real variety, and some are around their self-confidence stuff and their life stuff. But there's also a couple who are in corporate roles, and I'm helping them with their roles and how to sort of get the best out of them. So I'm very lucky.
So how did you come into the actual sales coaching kind of? What happened when the business closed then?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had to go back to doing what I always knew I could do, which was selling. So I went and got a job at a venue, and I was a national sales manager. I was back on the road, knocking doors, selling my wares. And then after 18 months, I got made head of sales. So I started to then run sales teams. And that was where I think I really came into my own, because not every salesperson can manage a team. Not everyone is set up for that. They don't want to do it. But I think really from being a salesperson, I really got it, and I love people. So actually managing teams was just my bag. I loved it. I loved how different they were. I loved how I could help them. I loved how my experience then I could pass on and teach them and coach them. And sometimes it was coaching, mentoring, sometimes training. So I was doing it already, but for corporates and for other companies. And then I think one day I just thought, I don't really want to work for someone anymore. I want to do this for myself. So that was the day, really. I just, I found the Coaching Academy, which some people may have heard of. And I've 2/3 of the way through their diploma at the moment. And that's very much so. I've got a foundation on coaching, which then adds to my own experience of coaching. So I'm loving that as well. And yeah, that's kind of what I decided. So I'm just going to do it myself. A bit like when I started Truly Medley Baby. No one else was doing it, so I'll go and do it.
It sounds amazing. So what's like the favourite thing? What's your favourite thing about your job now?
I think, if I'm really honest, flexibility is great because you're your own boss, so you can manage your time. Although a lot of my time now is about building my business, so I'm very indulged in it. But I think it's fulfillment, Rebecca. I think it's just that I love what I'm doing, and it's not even because I want to get rich. And we all need to earn money, and I think that will just happen because of how much I love doing what I'm doing. So it's the fulfillment. It's just watching people have those light bulb moments. I've heard you talk about this before as well. When you see someone in front of you and all of a sudden they realise and they get it. And it's amazing. It's such a buzz.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
When someone sees how capable they actually are of achieving the things that they really want to achieve, that is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So what advice would you give someone then that's just starting out?
I think you've got to be really sure that you know why you're doing it. I think the why is really important, because then you can understand then what you need to do. If it's just for a lifestyle business and the money side isn't critical, then you can enjoy it more and you can do it the way you want to do it. If it's actually to earn money, make a living, and you're a bit more dynamic and you want to grow your business, you've got to have a plan. You've got to understand what that looks like. You've got to know who your audience are, how you're going to get to market. Why are you different? What's different about you? And we're all different because we're all unique. But what is it that your customers will understand is different about you? Why do they want to work with you and not someone else? That's the stuff I'd ask them to think about.
Yeah. Really digging in deep. I love it. So before we finish up then, are there any resources or books or podcasts that you really, really love that you'd recommend to somebody?
It's really funny because I'm terrible for this stuff. I don't read. I don't take time out to do that. And I've got a bit of a goal that is to do more of that. There's probably, I like Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, yeah.
I like him.
I love Gary. So straight talking, isn't he?
I found him the other day, well, a few months ago, really. Just started to tune into some of his stuff, just as and when. And it's stuff like that I like, when I can just suddenly chip into it, maybe listen to it in the car. I just like real, authentic people. I like a real message. I don't want it to be fluffed up, and I don't want it to be too, snazzy. But I want it to feel like it's right and it means something, and I resonate with it. And I think he's someone that I know he's a bit raw. I think that.
Yeah, it's straight to the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
like if you listen beyond that, I like some of the stuff he says. And he's all about work-life balance. He's all about doing. He's all about working hard and playing hard. I like his messages. It's good. He's got some good stuff going on.
Yeah, amazing. So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish?
Oh, well, I've probably talked everyone to death, haven't I? I don't know. I think, I just think you should be so inspired to just go and do whatever you want to do. From people like you, from people like me. There's lots and lots of women out there at the moment online who are absolutely amazingly inspiring. Listen to them, and if there's one little thing that resonates with you and you think, I'd really like to do it, go and bloody do it. Don't wait. Life's too short. I've lost my mum and my dad now, and it was very painful, and we all have to face these things in life, but those experiences did one thing and made me realize life is short, and if you're going to do it now. That's my message.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been really amazing and really inspiring. You're doing absolutely amazing things, and your journey is incredible. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. It's really nice to chat to you.
And if anybody wants to find out more how to work with you or ask you any questions, where can they find you?
Probably best place is my website. It's the easiest place to put you to, and then you can find everywhere else about me. So it's Compassio Coaching. So I don't know if you're going to type that in somewhere as well for people, maybe because the spelling, but it's Compassio is COMPASSIO coaching.co.uk, and Compassio is Latin for empathy. Just in case anybody
yeah, because the human connection.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thanks so much, Jules.
All right, darling. Thank you. Thanks for chatting today. It's lovely to see you, and good luck with everything you're doing as well.
Thank you.
All right.
As always, this is Rebecca on the Coaching Podcast, and I want you to think about how can you be the best version of yourself today. You are the only person you need to be in competition with. And remember, the time is now. Yes, you can. Have an amazing day. I love you all, and I hope to see you live with me over on the Facebook page every Monday, Wednesday and Friday between 9 and 11 a.m. London time. Enjoy the rest of your day.